Hi, this is Bo from Boda Fitness. In today's video, we're going to be looking at how to figure out your daily protein intake. So before I get into the actual numbers and how we calculate that, I want to just first briefly talk about why protein is so important when it comes to a fat loss diet. I think most people today know, protein is important in the sense that, it helps with us feeling full and, it's important for weight loss, but I don't think we always realize the importance of not only how protein itself is important, but just making sure we consume the appropriate amount. Too much protein, just like too little protein, can both have bad effects. Too much protein tends to put a lot of wear and tear on the body, causes more rapid cell division, it increases aging, can compromise the intake of other nutrients we should be consuming in their place. So foods that might be higher in fiber and so on. So if we're eating all this protein, we may be displacing other nutrients that we really need to have in the diet for just optimal health. Too much protein can cause you to be constipated and so on. Too little protein, we don't heal from wounds very quickly, we're chronically fatigued, we don't really, when we lose weight, we don't really just lose fat, we also tend to lose lean mass, our metabolism slows down, hormone function is messed up. So the goal is to find that sweet spot, how much protein is just right, not too much, not too little, but just right. So some of the other benefits of protein when it comes to weight loss, in addition to satiety, is also the ability to build muscle and keep that metabolism going high. And what we find based upon the current research is that consuming protein throughout the day spaced somewhat evenly apart every few hours appears to be most optimal when it comes to building muscle, rather than just say having all your protein in one big meal. So what we really want to do is divide up that protein somewhat evenly throughout the day in at least 3 to 4 evenly spaced meals. The quality of the proteins that we consume will also have an important effect on their ability to help us feel full and to build muscle and so on. So normally proteins that are higher in the amino acid leucine are going to be a bit greater for building muscle than those who are a bit lower in leucine. And these will usually be in foods that are like high animal foods, for example, or even soy. These kinds of proteins are a bit higher in leucine. You can also do plant-based protein meals that are low in leucine, and just by adding an additional little bit of supplement, for example, like EAAs or branched chain amino acids with that meal, can kind of elevate the leucine content a bit. So if you're like a vegetarian or vegan or someone who wants to eat more plant-based, you can get similar benefits of a higher protein diet by continuing to eat your same plant-based meals, but then adding in some essential amino acids with each meal that you consume throughout the day. So that being said, let's jump right into figuring out how to figure out your customized optimal protein intake. So the very first thing that we need to do is we need to figure out your body weight. So we're going to jump on the scale, figure out how much you weigh, and then we're going to write it down. So for the sake of this video, I'm just going to pretend that this person's body weight is 170. So they're 170 pounds. And next, what we want to do is figure out your body fat percentage. There are various ways to do this more accurately. We're just going to go with the bioelectrical device because they're pretty easy to obtain. While they may not be the most accurate, they're going to be pretty decent. You can get these on a scale that you step on. You can do the handheld versions, or there are some that do both, and those that do both upper and lower tend to be a bit more accurate. So for the sake of this illustration, we're going to just kind of assume that this person has done their calculation and they figured out that their body fat percentage is, we'll say 30%. So they're 30% body fat. And so they're 170 pounds, 30% body fat. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna multiply our body weight times our body fat percentage. And we're just gonna move the decimal point to the front there, so 2 places over. So down here we have body weight times body fat percentage. In this case, if we multiply 170 times 0.30, we get 51. 51 represents your fat on your body in pounds. So that means this person, if they're 170 pounds at 30% body fat, they have 51 pounds of fat on their body, approximately speaking. Bear in mind, this might seem kind of crazy, or you're like, wow, that's a lot of fat. But bear in mind, a healthy individual typically should carry 20 to 30 pounds of fat on their frame anyways, just for overall health. So that means this person here, if they were trying to lose weight or trying to get just to a nice lean condition, they probably don't want to lose more than 20, maybe 30 pounds max to get to that optimal place based upon their current calculations. Now that we know a person's fat in pounds, we can now calculate lean body mass. So what's left over? What's the part of them that is muscle and bone and, you know, all the good stuff minus the fat, so to speak. So, and how we do that is we take their current body weight again. So we're gonna write that here, 170. And we're gonna just subtract from the 170 their total fat in pounds. So we're gonna take 170 minus 51. And if we go ahead and do that, we get a total of 119. So that 119 over here represents their lean body mass, right? Their skeleton, their muscle, and so on. So this person has 119 pounds lean body mass, and that's the number that we're going to use to establish their protein intake. So the reason we do this, by the way, is because obviously people at different weights are going to have different protein needs regardless. Let's just say they're the same weight. Let's say we have two women who are both, let's say, 170 pounds, but one's at 30% fat and the other is at 15% fat. Now that's really important, because now we would see that the girl at 15% fat, her lean muscle is going to be much higher and compared to the girl at 30% fat. So their protein needs are going to be different, right? Their calorie needs are also be different, because the one girl, if she has more muscle, she's going to have a higher metabolism probably, and she's going to be needing more protein possibly than the girl on the higher fat percentage, possibly, depending on the nature of how many calories this girl at the higher fat percentage is consuming. So the point is that we really want to customize the protein demands to our lean body weight, not necessarily our total body weight. And this is going to give us more accurate protein intake. So next, down here, we have now that we have our lean body mass in pounds, that 119, we want to convert that for our next equation. We're just going to convert that from pounds to kilograms. And so to convert from pounds to kilograms, we're going to just divide by 2.2. So I'm going to take that 119, I'm going to divide that number by 2.2, and that gives me, I'm looking at my cheat sheet here, 54 kilograms, if I did my math right. So that just basically means that this person, their lean body weight or lean body mass is 54 kilograms, which is, same thing as 119 in pounds. And we're just gonna do it to kilograms so that we can use this equation to figure that out. So we take their lean body mass in kilograms, which is the 54, and we're gonna, to get our protein intake in grams, we're going to base this on studies that have shown that roughly for those who are dieting and or trying to build muscle, they want to be consuming roughly 2.3 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, up to 3.1 grams of protein per kilogram of lean body weight. And so this is going to give us a protein range that gives us an area where we want to kind of roughly fall into. Sort of a lower upper level. The higher your calorie deficit, so if you're really trying to lose weight more quickly and you really drop your calories, you're going to shoot for that higher protein intake. On the other hand, if you're just going for a modest reduction in calories, you're not really dropping them too much, then you're going to go with that more moderate protein intake. Bear in mind that both of these are still higher protein intake. They're not, neither one is low or high. They're both pretty high, relatively speaking. If we were just to look at the recommended protein intake for just a sedentary, not very active person who's not really trying to lose weight, who's eating a normal amount of calories, their protein intake would be quite a bit lower than what we're about to look at here. So when we do our math, 54 times 2.3, we get 124 grams of protein per day as that somewhat, moderate amount there on the lower end. And then 54 times 3.1 gives us 167, I believe it is, 167 grams of protein per day. So this ends up with our total being 124 to 167 as the upper amount for this person, 170 pounds at 30% body fat. All right, so this is how we go ahead and calculate our protein intake. This gives us our total protein intake for the day. If there's any of these steps that you didn't understand in this video, remember you could go back, watch the video again, and try to follow through, or you can always contact us in person via email or calling us at Boda Fitness, and I can help you out in person. Have a great day. Remember that in our next video, we're going to be looking at, now that we've figured out how to calculate our protein intake, we're going to be looking at how to figure out your daily fat intake for maximum fat loss. And we'll be going into that in our next video. Look forward to talking to you then.